Okay. Oh, we started. Okay, so I have some news. And first of all, I want to just go ahead and address this. This is a whitehead, and everything is still going to be okay. It ain't stopping nothing. All right. That's kind of the theme of today's video. Circumstances ain't stopping nothing because actually we're still going to move forward. I just found out today that my contract was terminated. As I told you guys, I was working in clinical operations. I had successfully transitioned out of sales for over a year. So yay me for that. Now I'm in operations. But it looks like that's over. And I want to talk about some of the ways that I'm learning to cope with this sudden job loss situation, because it is not the first time that I have been through this. So first and foremost, I want to preface this whole thing by saying I wrote my move to Mexico around 2022, 2023. I don't even know if you can see that. 2022, 2023. It said be tri-coastal. Now, I don't live on the coast in Mexico. Oh, live 6 months out of this country. 2023. I dated that. So it's like, you can write your reality. And I say that to say, I'm scripting a new reality with this job situation right now. There was a new moon in Gemini journaling prompt exercise that I found on Substack. I'll link it. But even if you're starting now, it's quite all right. It started on June 14th and she gives you different prompts. And I'm saying this to say, following your intuition is a huge aspect of journaling these prompts, because it asks you to follow your intuition and your nudges. And when I tell you, for the past 3 weeks, I felt anxious from the hour or two before, about 2 hours before I had to log in, to the time I would log off. And I noticed, because I was checking in with my body, that I would feel anxious up until the time I would log off. And I would just feel anxious the whole time. And I say that to say, it wasn't because I'm an anxious person in general. I may not be a chill person. I'm an intense person. That's the ADHD. That's the zest for life. That's the hunger for more, but it is not inherently just anxiety. Yes, ADHD and anxiety can often live together, but I'm not anxious all the time. It's a very specific feeling, and it was all up in here. It was all here. And I'm just like, this is not normal for me. Even though this job can be stressful sometimes, and even though certain things in the work environment would make me feel stressed or anxious at times, I never felt anxious from the time I started to the time I ended. Other things and changes were happening in the organization that I could see. And also, we were reaching a point to where I had been there for about a year. And I'm learning some things about working with these 1099 contracts at these startups. And what I'm learning is that the contract tends to last about a year. Now, that wasn't true for everybody. I have someone who I used to know who worked there. She was there for 4 years, but the point is, she moved on after that time. And I'm just saying, for me in my own life, as I look back at that, I noticed that these contracts tend to last a year. So basically, here's how I'm coping, because as I write a new reality for myself, the things that I want in my next role, in my next income job situation, I am learning to notice the patterns, to where if I do go into another startup, I won't wait until I feel anxiety to start looking for another job. I won't wait until things start to feel weird and I start to see all kinds of shifts and I see that they're asking for more than what they're giving. I won't wait for that. I will be on a cadence of knowing, if this seems like a really unstable situation, maybe the contract will last about 6 months and I need to have something ongoing in the background. So I'm building that. You know that I'm an ADHD coach, and I'm actually building that specifically to work with people who want to move abroad, because I think relocation is a very specific thing that requires support, and it's great to have support from somebody who's done it. But then also navigating the workplace with ADHD, navigating work and income and livelihood with ADHD. Really important, and I want to be doing more work around that, because I feel that designing your life is very, very key. So a third thing I'm doing is realizing again that all of the things that we preach and we teach about patience and about building your own reality you must employ these things in the moment where typically everybody else would fall apart. It's incredible that I feel no anxiety now, and sometimes I can have delayed reactions. Maybe I might have moments of fear if things appear like they're not working out, but I can tell you that if you're feeding your mind and your spirit every single day with the affirmations that your sustenance don't come from these people, it comes from God, then you will be more in a better position to deal with things when they come. Also, have your circle of people. Like, there's people who may have a certain reaction. That's why you need to pay attention to your relationships and pay attention to how you feel when you talk to certain people about certain things. And I know who I can immediately call, who would speak life into the situation and understand that it ain't stopping nothing. You know what I'm saying? To lose one particular source of income. That's why we're building multiple ones. We'll build them sustainably. We know more of what we want now, and it's just gonna go on like that. So yeah, I felt like I wanted to come here and talk about this because I felt like, no, what if we document this journey as it goes on? So I look forward to that. Obviously, I'm gonna have more time for a while. I do have surgery coming up. I have a leave coming up. So that means I have a few weeks of real downtime in terms of certain things, certain types of work. And I feel that maybe I could share more of my reflections on just going through this change of having this surgery, which is going to be incredible. I'm having a surgery to shrink my fibroids, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's basically just another step in my journey to heal and to be the type of woman I always envisioned myself being. But then also I have more time to reflect on what my next moves are. You don't have to have all the answers figured out when you're in a situation like this. And yes, I do have family. Let me just keep it real. I have family who is supportive of me in all the ways, and I do have places where I can be. So some people don't have that. Some people really do have to depend on themselves, and some people are isolated. And so I don't ever want to downplay that everyone who's in this situation is just going to have the same resources. But the reality still remains that even more so of a reason for you to keep a clear head and to be open to miracles, really, to be open to miracles. And to be open to things unfolding for you in a way that you never imagined. I mean, I see on YouTube, because I'm chronically online, I see so many stories of people who, look at Arlen. If you don't know who Arlen is, someone who, she used to be actually homeless, and she has built herself to where she is. And you could never say it wasn't through strategy and being like really intelligent and learning and failing, but it was also because of the power of her belief. So I feel like the point is build a strong belief system that says you will always be okay no matter what. I am doing the inner work to ensure, it's everything from listening to affirmations, it's everything from prayer. And I'm going to say this, I don't pray in the typical way all the time. I definitely am someone who is more of a thinker and someone who is recognizing God in the way that God shows up for me in all of these different forms. Like God shows up in realizations, and maybe I could benefit from going even further in that. But I'll say this, you just have to keep a clear head. It doesn't mean, I wanted to come on here and talk about how anxious I was, but I'm glad that I waited, because now I can learn to trust my intuition. That's the biggest one of all. Keeping your belief system strong and trusting your intuition. Something was off, and I just love that term because it just kind of captures how subtle things are when you're feeling these things and you don't know what it is. You could just think it's a physiological thing. I was drinking magnesium and stuff. Man, it was because them people were already thinking about getting rid of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it was, and you can feel that. You could feel the tides changing. You may not have had the words for it. You may not have had the evidence and the proof, but it was going to happen. In the same way, you may not have the evidence and the proof that you're going to double your income by the next new moon, which was my personal goal. I wanted to double my income either by making the same amount in half the time or by doubling my actual rates. And good news, I have an interview on Friday, and I did the salary, I did the math. It's more than double. On the higher end of the salary, it's more than double. So already I'm on that path. And so these are the things that are emerging as you choose to tune in to what's happening. But just in the same way that you could feel some impending doom, why can't you feel impending miracles? You can feel that something good is going to happen as well. And that's the kind of faith that I'm going to need you to keep if you end up in this kind of situation. No matter what level of support system you have or not. I mean, at the end of the day, even though I'm so blessed to have family, I mean, it doesn't, like, I want to be independent. You know, I want to be financially independent. I don't want to rely on them for my everything. I need to be able to move around, you know? So I feel as though, you know, it's still important at whatever level you're at. You know, you could have a partner, you could have a spouse and be in this situation. You want to have your own, you know, like, so you definitely can still employ these things. As usual, this is more of a stream of consciousness share than anything else. And that's how I share. I share my lived experiences, and I'm so grateful to be able to. And I just feel like this is really the start of something special here, but also just in my life. I mean, it couldn't stay the way that it was because I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy in that area of my life, and I knew it. I knew it. They knew I was bound for greater things, and there was no forward movement to place me in these roles there that were going to be a little bit more complex, require more of my skills, and it just wasn't a fit anymore. But it served its purpose. Now I'm able to go to other healthcare type of roles, other operational roles, and I just generally feel more confident in my choosing to work as an independent contractor, to work in operations, and to possibly take on other types of roles in that. Like, you know, so I'm grateful for the whole experience at the end of the day. So listen, here's another thing though. If you have resources, I definitely would like to know what they are. I'm looking at Slack channels in different communities that post jobs and things like that. I love networking in that way. I love being a part of these like remote online communities. I just love that. I love anything that allows people to be flexible and free. If you need relocation support, of course you can reach out to me. And if you need ADHD support, you could reach out to me and contact me. I'm not a corporation, so I'm a human being who can work with you and speak life and speak strategy and speak insight into your situation. And I've been told I'm a pretty good listener. So I think that those tools will really come in handy if you need support like that. So that's it for me, y'all. I don't know what my next move is today, but I will. Oh, I'm definitely going to be doing some journaling later. Maybe I'll take a walk with the dog, but yeah, that's what we're doing. And I'll be back to tell you what happens next. Take care.